Hey everyone, how are you doing? We're happy to have you here from all around the world. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the family. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Now to the breaking news we just received. The Israeli defense minister just threatened to burn Iran to the ground. Yoav Gallant, mistakenly referred to as Israel Katz in some reports, addressed Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei directly, saying, "We are in critical hours. Airstrikes continue, as jets are bombing here and missiles and drones are pounding there. The whole world is watching. Panic is spreading everywhere. So the big question, is this just a round of missiles and drones flying back and forth? Or are we witnessing a volcano of war erupting? A fireball that has already begun rolling, shaking the entire Middle East and possibly the world?" As of now, it's a war between Iran and Israel. But have you heard what Pakistan, the Muslim nuclear power, just said? They're ready to support Iran. And did you see the United States and United Kingdom rushing to mobilize their military assets, fighter jets, warships, destroyers, toward the Middle East to defend Israel? Meanwhile, Macron is running around doing interviews shouting, "We'll protect Israel with all our forces." On the other hand, Russia and China are calling for calm, clearly leaning in favor of Iran. Arab states are stuck in between, trying not to take sides, but Iran's threats to hit their countries under the excuse of United States attacks might drag them into a full-scale war anyway. As missiles and drones keep flying between the Persians and the Israelis, the most important question arises: what if the fire goes out of control? What if there's no room left for de-escalation? What if this war becomes everyone's war? From that question, dozens of scenarios start to unfold. Scenario 1. The United States joins the fight. Tonight I want to talk to you about what could happen if the US military steps in alongside Israel. Iran is already convinced, maybe even certain, that America is not far from entering the battlefield. Think about everything that has happened: the nuclear deal mess, the staged conflict between Netanyahu and Trump over the Iran talks. Tehran might believe it was all a US setup from the start. So, what if Iran decides to take revenge? We might see attacks on US bases across the Gulf, in Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, even Oman. US troops in Iraq could be targeted. There could be attacks on embassies, or even on deeper American interests. And even though the US has started preparing, evacuating some bases, pulling out a few troops, letting families of military personnel leave the region, the threat is still very real. Now imagine this scenario that no one wants. What if an American citizen is killed in Tel Aviv? Think about what that would do to Trump or any US president. The pressure would force them to respond, not just with weapons or financial aid, but with full-blown, direct military involvement. And don't forget the pressure from Republicans to join the war. And of course, the strong pro-Israel lobbies in the US will push for it too. Why? Because only America has the bunker-busting bombs needed to destroy Iran's most fortified nuclear site, Fordow, which is buried deep in the mountains. If America enters the war, we're talking about a whole new level of destruction. Scenario 2. The Gulf goes up in flames. Let's say Iran fails to seriously hit Israel. Most of Tehran's missiles and drones get intercepted. Their impact is small. In that case, Iran might look for easier targets. And yep, you guessed it, they might go after Gulf oil infrastructure. Maybe Iran thinks hitting a few oil facilities could save face, and maybe pressure Gulf countries to tell America to stop supporting Israel. But this scenario won't stop there. Everyone knows US air power is still present in the region. And Gulf countries have advanced weapon systems now, especially in air and missile defense. They can strike back. Plus, they all have security agreements with the US, meaning Washington would have no choice but to fight back too. So in this case, skies over the Middle East would be filled with US warplanes ready to burn Tehran and all of Iran's nuclear facilities, oil fields, and gas plants to the ground. That's when the war would go global. The whole region could erupt into a massive war. Scenario 3. Israel fails to destroy Iran's nukes. Now let's imagine a scenario where Israel doesn't manage to take out all of Iran's nuclear facilities. Iran already has about 400 grams of uranium enriched to 60%, just one step away from weapons-grade material. Where is it now? Most likely underground, maybe in mountain tunnels. Only Khamenei and a few top generals probably know exactly where it is. Iran would then bet on this idea. You can kill our nuclear scientists, but you can't kill the knowledge. And here's the real danger. If Israel fails, Iran might become more convinced than ever that getting a nuclear bomb is the only way to survive, especially with Khamenei appointing more aggressive and less disciplined military leaders recently. The risk of escalation gets worse. What happens next? Israel would likely launch even more violent strikes back and forth day after day, a snowball of war. Scenario 4, the global economic shock. So, let's wrap it up with the economic nightmare. Everyone knows oil prices would spike, but hey, that's just the beginning. What if Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz? Remember, 30% of the world's oil passes through there. And what if the Persian Gulf turns into a battlefield? These are just some of the terrifying possibilities. The fire is spreading fast, and if someone doesn't step in to cool things down, we could be heading into a war bigger than anything we've seen in decades. The red alert. Houthis on standby, and the world might just watch it all burn. The Houthis are ready and waiting for Iran's signal, and when it comes, the world will be watching a real-life thriller unfold. Ships getting hijacked, oil tankers under fire, vessels seized by pirates, and oil prices shooting through the roof. This would hit a world that's already drowning in inflation, pushing it into yet another shock. That could mean protests erupting in the streets, more poverty and economic suffering, and social chaos spreading like wildfire. And now? Have you stopped to think, who's the biggest winner in all of this? Yep, that guy, Vladimir Putin. Billions will flow into Russia thanks to soaring oil prices, while he makes sure Russia stays out of the war, unless he sees a united front with China, Pakistan, and North Korea. Only then might Putin consider joining in, though honestly, that scenario still looks like a long shot for now. And that brings us to the final scenario, the fall of the Iranian regime. If you think Israel's only goal is to stop Iran's nuclear program, think again. Just listen to what Netanyahu said. This is a war for the freedom of the Iranian people. Even the West is asking, who fills the vacuum if Iran collapses? We're talking about a country the size of Iran, with huge geopolitical weight. If its regime falls, no one can guarantee what comes next. Civil war? Economic collapse? Militias taking over? Total chaos? At this point, anything is possible. So it all comes down to two big questions. Does Iran have the strength and willpower to go toe-to-toe with Israel for the long haul? Does America have the ability, or even the desire, to hold Israel back? Until we get answers in the coming days, every scenario remains on the table. And the region? It's standing right